What does this mean to you to sort of be on that field and take a bow one more time?
I've kind of been saying it for the past couple weeks, like just to be part of this argument. If you're on somebody's list for this, I just think that's cool enough for me. But just when I got the phone call, just to think about the list of people that have been able to come to a night like this, it's hard to describe. I think a lot of work was really put into it, but there's so many people around you that I feel like just had a huge part in it. And sometimes luck has to be on your side, seeing it every day in and day out. But I'm just one of those guys who was always extremely encouraged just by family, friends, and no one said, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. So when you have people, supporting you, standing behind you and helping you out, it makes it that much more fun.
It's pretty cool that the pride of the Elks and the Buckeyes are going in together here.
Yeah, I've kind of, if you know A.J. Hawk, you kind of brag that you know him. Luckily I got to play with him. A lot of people don't know that 4 different levels, like Pee Wee, high school, college, and pro. And I've always asked people, like, try to find 2 guys that played in all 4 kind of phases like that together. And I feel like that wouldn't be a very big number. So I feel like I'm lucky that I got to play with a guy like that. And we all have seen him dominate college, dominate pro, but even as a kid in 6th grade, well, he was in 5th and I was in 6th when we were on the same team, but just like, this guy's going to be special. It was no surprise to someone like me who saw it every day, so just to be able to do this with him tonight is just a lot of fun.
And your best, we remember the Marshall buzzer beater. Is there anything that stands out over the championship?
I was thinking about that today, like something that maybe not a lot of people would know. Just running through the Tunnel of Pride I was lucky enough to be a senior when the Michigan game was at home. And to see Coach Tressel and to see my parents, I completely lost it. I didn't realize the gravity of that situation until I saw my parents. Really? And actually it was before I started running, so Coach Tressel saw me just crying my eyes out, and I'm like, I got to play a game right now, like probably the biggest game of my career against Michigan. And but it was just one of those moments I just really cherish it, never forget it.
Congrats.
Thanks a lot.
Kind of lucky you played for Tressel, because in the era after that, they sort of, if it wasn't a touchdown, it was a failure.
Yeah. I feel like I think Coach Tressel would be a better person to ask this question, but for me, or not really the question, but for me, it was always like, I think he really, I love playing for someone who gave so much credit to the kicking game, and it wasn't just kicking. It wasn't just field goals, kickoffs, punts, punt return. He just gave it so much credit. So I was just like, oh, I feel like I'm here at a very good time, and luckily got to kick a lot of field goals. So I think kind of just depends on the coach, really. Some coaches are like, oh, I want 7, I don't want 3, and I think depending on the situation, if we got 3 out of it, I was always very happy about it.
And nice to be going into a Hall of Fame, because not all Hall of Fames value the contributions of special teams, much like some coaches don't, but this one obviously does.
It does, yeah. I think, like I was saying earlier, to be on this list of people that have accomplished something like tonight, it's just a lot of fun. And I can't think of a better word to describe it. It's just very cool to be here, and to think when I was a kid putting in the work, like, oh, it would be so cool to go to Ohio State, and to have it evolve into coming here tonight is just like, wow, it's just a lot of fun. And I kind of feel like there's times you feel like, oh, do I deserve this? But then you think back like, okay, maybe, I worked hard. So it's somebody's got to get in the Hall of Fame. So I think it's one of those things I'm just really proud to be able to say this.
You talked about getting the phone call, but you didn't say where were you and who was it that actually called?
You know what? I can't tell you exactly who it was.
Okay.
I haven't met him face to face.
Okay.
But I was just at home. I think I was. I forget exactly like what day it was, but we had just had our second daughter.
Oh,
so
my.
I think I was going on not the most sleep in the world, but we had a great schedule figured out, and she's sleeping 12 hours now at 3 months. So just in between naps, I would definitely say. So not naps for us, naps for the girls.
Well, you might need some too at this point.
Yeah, it's funny. Like anyone that has kids, you want to get a lot done during that, but you're also like, should I lay down? What should I do? But for me, it's always like, all right, let's just get stuff done around the house and make sure mom gets her sleep. So.
Last time someone yelled "Nuge" in your direction.
I don't remember specifically, but
Okay.
it kind of
Has it been a while
happens
ago?
every now and then.
It does happen?
Yeah. It's not as huge
It
as it
wasn't like
was when I
last
was
week,
here.
but it might not have been 10 years ago, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should expect it tomorrow.
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I still deserve it. I guess.
I think
That's
Hall of Fame.
yeah. Well, that's the thing about these Ohio State fans. I mean, the loyalty is unbelievable, and we've lived in Scottsdale the past 7 years, so it's just the amount of alumni out in Arizona. It's great. Just how the people get together for games, and you can run into somebody and be like, "Oh, I grew up in 2 blocks from you, or 2 miles away." So that's great.
When was the last time you were at Ohio Stadium?
My wife and I came to a night game. You guys will probably remember. Probably 3 years ago. It was pretty good. Maybe Minnesota, but it was just kind of a middle of the season random game. But yeah, these days I've been catching them on TV as much as possible.
When you committed here, did you envision your career this Hall of Fame? I mean, was any of that in your mind as a 17, 18-year-old coming out of high school?
I looking back, I can definitely say I was the kind of person that really thought about what's going on right now. So before I even got offered, I wasn't one of these guys who had 20 schools to choose from, but I got the offer about 2 weeks before signing date. So at that point, I was like, okay, well, I got to win this job first. So I feel like I was good about that. Like, I got to win this job rather than looking too far ahead. So then it kind of started evolving a little bit, getting a little bit more comfortable my freshman year. Went 50%, and I missed 7 field goals. And so that was tough, and competed back and forth all season. But then kind of got my groove, like spring ball after my freshman season.
Who was it that was here with you?
Josh Houston.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So what was that competition like, coming in as a freshman and trying to fight for the job?
I mean, it was tough. It was kind of like anything. In high school, you're definitely going to get competition, but not so much as a kicker. But then you're competing with someone. And I had seen Josh kick a lot. We had been to kicking camps together, so I knew he was very good. And I knew it was one of those things that's, at the end of the day, it's kind of like golf. Golfers are, in my opinion, almost competing against the course and the weather rather than each other. Obviously, their scores get compared, but kicking's the same way. It's me against the uprights and the weather, not so much. And then my scores are just going to get compared to the guy next to me. So I think that's kind of the way I've always looked at it.